Now that it's all quiet and it's almost 6 o'clock, I think we will start our meeting. We are live. So welcome everyone. First of all, we're going to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation. Please stand for the national anthem. Thank you. All right, our first item is approval of the agenda. Have a motion moved by Susan Irwin and seconded by Cindy Kelsey that there is an addition of a report 208-225 winter sand contract extension that we're going to put under section 12. That the agenda for the regular meeting of council to be held October the 28th be approved as amended with the addition of item 12, report 208-2025 winter sand contract extension. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof, any item on tonight's agenda by any member of council? Seeing none, we'll note that in the minutes. Moved by Dan Meek, second by Lynn Klekus, that the minutes from the regular council meeting held October the 14th, 2025 be approved as presented. Any discussion or amendments on that? All those in favor? Carried. Do I have more minutes here?
And for the September
Okay.
25th.
So moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Bill Everett, that the minutes from the regular meeting of council held September the 23rd be approved as presented. Discussion, all those in favor? Carried. Mayor's remarks, a couple. Open house was held on the 20th from 4 to 6 to kick off local government week, and it was a great success with lots of folks through, and thank you to staff who were the tour guides. We had lots of visiting happening, and it was a good night. People were very pleased with the professional look of the building and glad that we were here. During local government week, we held October 19th to the 20th. We featured several departmental spotlights highlighting the work of our public works, treasury, fire, and building departments. Did everybody see them on Facebook? That was excellent. Good way to do that. It was good to do. And also a reminder, Christmas party, Saturday the 22nd, and you need to RSVP by November the 7th. So that's next Friday, isn't it?
Correct.
So get your yeses or nos in. I just want to say a big thank you to our fire department who spent a lot of time on the fire on Birch Island with South Frontenac and the help that they have given to North Frontenac through their wildfire that was happening there. So devastating, and everything went so fast. We think the rain helps, and it does, but certainly there's lots of dryness in the bush and all the stuff that's on the ground. So thankfully, those people are well-trained and work hard. And the mayor of South Frontenac mentioned today his thankfulness for the help that we provided. So pass that along to the chief. All right. Anybody else have anything to add? Nikki.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to take a moment to thank all the community members who helped with the mange boxes. There was a lot of community outrage over the sick boxes, and we had quite a few community members who stepped up, who took time out of their schedule to arrange getting foxes back and forth to Sandy Pines, spending money out of their pocket to get meat to trap them, and just stepping up for it. And I really appreciate the community we live in. And when they pull together well. I also wanted to say today at County Council, we got a history lesson about women in politics. And one of the words that were brought up today was about our mayor, mayor being a trailblazer over 40 years in municipal politics. And she has paved the way for quite a few women to step forward, and how we need to encourage women to step up to the plate and come to council. We are very fortunate council that we're kind of backwards to everybody else. We're a little female heavy and that, but the analogy was birds of a feather and having equal sides on your bird so your bird will fly level, not in a circle. But I just want to say kudos to our mayor for what she has done over the past 40 plus years in municipal politics, and she needs to be commended for that.
Sometimes crazy people do crazy things, but yeah, it's gone quickly. Thank you, Nikki. All right, we have a delegation, Steve Newstead, who is with the Lions Club regarding Oso Hall. Welcome to the table, Steve. Just push that button till it goes green, and then we can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. Good evening, Mayor Smith and members of council. I'd like to thank you, for starters, for the opportunity to come and speak with you this evening about Oso Hall. And as we all recognize, it's a fixture of our community, and it's otherwise known as Soldiers Memorial Hall. My name is Steve Newstead. I'm a year-round resident in Charlotte Lake, and I live on Cedar Avenue. We purchased our forever home here in 2014 and can't think of a better place to live. And our children grew up on the lake here. And prior to that, I was a secondary school teacher and had the honor of teaching at Charlotte Lake High School before it was GREC. So I do have roots within the community that go way back. I'm now retired and have taken the role as president of the Charlotte Lake and District Lions Club. I also am a volunteer with the North and Central Frontenac Food Bank. Back one more, please. Yep. Soldiers Memorial Hall, otherwise known as Oso Hall, is located at 1107 Garrett Street in Charlotte Lake. And it's a community hub with its location right in the center of our town. Community halls are critical infrastructure for communities, especially in small rural towns where gathering places are limited. This space is used regularly by community groups and community members. Next slide, please. Our community hall is named Soldiers Memorial Hall. Sorry, back one. Yep, thanks. And it's home to our cenotaph that reads, "Dedicated in honor of all veterans who served in the Armed Forces of Canada." It memorializes the members of our armed forces who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country in World War I, 1914 to 1918, and World War II, 1939 to 1945, as well as the Korean War. And as a side note, I do want to acknowledge and thank the municipality for the remembrance banners that are starting to show up around town. I think they really look incredible, and it's a tribute to our veterans. Next slide. Yeah. Over the years, the hall has been refurbished to make it functional as a multi-use space and accessible to all community members. The importance of this gathering place for our community, as well as the financial commitment of our township to maintain such a critical infrastructure, cannot be understated. Next slide. Soldiers Memorial Hall is home to our little theater. It serves as a location of many events run by our community, not-for-profit organizations. These groups raise funds for both support and to beautify our community. Examples of the Charlotte Lake and District Lions Club, Villages Beautiful Central Frontenac, and the North and Central Frontenac Food Bank. In addition, vaccine clinics are run here or were run here for more than 50 years. And it served as a location for blood donations. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but an example of organizations that rely on our community hall in order to keep others in our community. Next slide. At a recent community breakfast, the North and Central Frontenac Food Bank raffled off a quilt donated by one of our residents to help feed those in need within our community. And it was supported by the Lions Club. Next slide. The Soldiers Memorial Hall is home to monthly community breakfasts hosted by the Charlotte Lake and District Lions Club. Each breakfast has a designated charity, and all proceeds from events like this go directly to helping others and go back to our community. Next slide. Just this past weekend, seniors from our community attended a seniors luncheon, a free event at the hall, where they enjoyed an afternoon of music, theater, food, draw prizes, and recognition of their commitment to our community. It was really a fabulous day. Next slide. Who doesn't like to sing along with classic tunes and enjoy a free lunch, laugh, dance, and socialize? And this couldn't happen without our community gathering place and the sponsors that put events like this on. So, next slide. Sounds really positive, doesn't it? So, why am I here? Well, let's have a look. So, next slide. At first glance, the kitchen appears to be functional. Next slide. But you will notice there's no range hood venting to the outside, which is problematic in any kitchen. The kitchen is also fully equipped with dishes, glassware, and cutlery. However, there's no dishwasher, no sanitizer. So groups are forced to use disposable plates and cutlery, which end up in our landfill. In addition, pest control must be a priority, as mouse droppings in cupboards is highly problematic. I think we all understand it happens, especially in the country at this time of year. Certainly we all deal with it. But a renovated space can help alleviate this problem. Next slide. The range you saw in the previous photo actually doesn't work. It hasn't worked for years. I've been a member of the Lions Club for 4 years and one of the cooks for the community breakfast. But with no working range, we've had to improvise. We cook on hot plates. That's our egg counter you see in the photo. Next slide. Electric griddles are placed on top of the non-functioning range to cook those delicious community breakfast pancakes. Yes, I cook those, so they're really good. Next slide. And all of this cooking takes place directly adjacent to an exposed electrical panel. So that is, as soon as you walk in, it's right beside our kitchen. Next slide. There are 3 back rooms off the kitchen. I've asked questions about what their purpose was or is in the history, and that previously housed the judicial court offices, I understand. And are now storing unused items like old toilet paper and paper towel dispensers removed long ago. And you can see them on the old desk sitting back there. And it's a waste of space, and I think it could use some cleanup. Next slide. There's broken furniture, badly soiled carpets. Again, these are all directly off the kitchen, and these are the green spaces that community theater and that would use for green rooms and some of our theatrical productions and so on. I'm certainly not saying the township is wholly responsible, because users also contribute to it, but I do think it is need for upgrade and upkeep. Next slide. A typewriter and an empty filing cabinet from the courts still sit in the corner of refuse. And if you were to walk in there tonight, that's what you would see. Actually still has the Government of Ontario logo on that old typewriter sitting up top. So if anybody would like one for home, that's where it sits. Next slide. Old socks and a broken phone outlet are on the corner and the floor. I don't know how long that sock's been there, but I wanted to capture it for impact. Next slide. Tattered window coverings. Again, these are the back rooms directly off the kitchen, right in behind the stage area. So these are areas that most people wouldn't see, but I think could really be, if some investment was put into the hall, expanded kitchen, and I certainly have some ideas and so on, and utilizing these for stage productions and so on, they could be revitalized, I think, without massive investment. But your community folks that use the hall would really appreciate that investment. Next slide. We have old hazardous air conditioning units. I certainly wouldn't trust that one, but there it sits and probably should be removed. So, next slide, the positives. A multi-use space that meets AODA standards for accessibility. And certainly we recognize that there are accessible washrooms in it. There's an accessible ramp that comes into it, but we need to make sure that it does meet those standards. A beautiful historic building with the cenotaph outside and historical photos and documents on the inside. And again, when you're in the hall, if you look on the walls, there's all kinds of historical documents there that reflect the community. And those both need to be preserved, I think, and celebrated. Not-for-profit community groups use it for events that benefit community members. Goes directly back to our community members. Utilized by local residents for private functions. And it's an entertainment hub located centrally in the village. Next slide. The negatives. So we have an outdated kitchen with non-functioning appliances, and there are possible safety issues that need to be addressed. Next slide, please. Thank you. No dishwasher sanitizer, leading to greater waste for our landfill. And unused space currently storing refuse. And then there are some pest control issues. So I think, just in looking at some of that, and as a member of the community, I too recognize that, yes, we need to address it. And that's part of the reason I'm here, is to ask for some help. So the ask. Next slide. Yeah, thanks. Recognition of the importance of the community asset. Allocation of some funding. I understand it's coming into budget time, so that's one of the reasons I'm here, is to ask you to please keep this as part of your deliberations. To renovate the kitchen at Soldiers Memorial Hall, and including but not limited to, remove the garbage and debris from the back offices and utilize the space. And part of it could expand the size of the kitchen, and in doing so, you could place the range on an exterior wall. It could be vented to the exterior. You could put a proper kind of a double door refrigeration unit in there, a refrigerator that, again, whatever wall it's on, and then the interior wall right now where the range sits, where all the plumbing is, without having to redo all that infrastructure, you could come up with your dishwashing, including a sanitizer washer that would allow us to utilize all that glassware and minimize garbage that goes to landfill. New commercial stove. I've already addressed the venting piece. I've already covered the fridge. New cupboards or repurposing of the cupboards. They're old. They still function. They could perhaps be repurposed with a coat of paint, but and plumbing and electrical is required for safety. And I'm not an electrician, but I do think that that certainly needs to be at the forefront of any renovation project. So that is the end of my presentation, and certainly hope that you will consider, as you go into budget deliberations, consider making an allocation and to address Oso Hall going forward, because as a community, we really do need it.
Do you have any ideas of approximate cost that it might take?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't. I haven't gone so far as to trying to cost out something like that. I'm not a contractor. And again, it depends if it was something where the whole project was tendered out, or you asked for community support and involvement to get involved, and whether people donated their time it's not unheard of in rejuvenating a community hall, whether community partners would be able to contribute in some way. Again, I can't say that they can or cannot because that ask hasn't gone out. But I think the first step would need to be that the municipality would have to say, we're willing to invest in this, but perhaps we need some assistance.
I do know that the Lions has contributed over the years for different things in the hall.
Yeah.
But Duncan,
So two questions. The first is for Kathy. So some of those things don't require any financial contributions, like the cleaning of the garbage and potentially the rodent control.
That's
So
correct.
I'm just going to assume we'll work on
Look
those.
at those, yes.
Okay. And then Steve, so we're going to be heading into a tough budget year. If you had, looking at all the different things you've asked for here, if there was like a number one biggest inconvenience for you, the thing we could solve for you
Yeah.
right away, what would be some of those things? So obviously, if we can't afford a full kitchen renovation, does a working stove help? Does proper refrigeration? What would be your biggest number one item?
Like, I would think that the stove definitely needs to be replaced. And it should be relocated. Probably the most cost-effective way would be to move it over onto an exterior wall so it could have a rain hood and cooking fumes can go outside versus stay right in the hall. I don't think anybody, you walk in anyone's home these days, every time pretty much so we would want that venting inside. The other thing is it does have, there is a functioning traditional kind of a, whatever they are, 30-inch white refrigerator that the handle keeps.
There.
Sorry. There is a functioning white fridge in there that the handle keeps falling off of. And like, I know for the food bank, for example, and I helped secure the commercial fridge that they have in there. It was around $4,000 for a good commercial double door fridge with wheels on it. That was kind of the cost, the price tag. And that was just the fridge. But to me, if you dealt with the fridge, you dealt with the range, you dealt with the venting. I'd love to see the wall opened up into that one office space just to give it more room, which is where some of that stuff could even shift to, which if it's not supporting, is not a big job to take down. I think it's paneling in there.
I do remember Andy talking about stove hoods. I think there was one that went into Arden that were $20,000 each. And that there was supposed to be one for that hall as well, but it didn't happen. But then if the stove underneath it isn't working.
Yeah, like the oven turns on, but the burner, nothing really works.
Is it gas or electric?
It's electric.
It is electric, okay.
And that's the other thing to keep in mind is you don't necessarily have to go, because I know that going to a gas range brings other pieces as far as fire control, I believe. Again, I'm not a member of the fire department. I don't know those code pieces. But whether it's electric, whether it's gas, if it works and it's large enough to be able to, like a 30-inch range, I don't think would be sufficient. We need more space, especially when we're feeding 150 or 200 people in the sum of 2.5, 3 hours. And we do try to pre-cook a lot of stuff, but.
The other thing too is like, I remember because the seniors, the 39ers years ago, they bought that with a grant, both that fridge and stove. So it is quite old. I know that. Also too, the courts are still paying rent to us, very minimal. They are paying minimal. So we would have to certainly discuss that with them because some of that stuff in that one room, like the typewriter and all that, belongs to the courts. So, but we'll have to check with that. I had Jody go and double check with the treasurer and he did say it's minimal, but they are still paying some money towards
Since
it.
COVID, they haven't had
Haven't
court.
come back. Yeah.
They tend to do Zoom meetings for courts, but I don't know, maybe we need to write them a letter and ask what their intentions is going forward. We can't keep it empty forever if we can use it for something else.
Like I have a design in my head as far as kind of the functional space, but as far as costing it out, and again, I'm not a commercial contractor, but I was in education, I taught in the trades, so
you can't swing a hammer though.
I can swing a hammer.
There you go.
And I'd be happy to come in and help.
Good. Okay, I think we need to hand this over to Andy.
Yeah.
To-
Andy and Bill will certainly, and I know there has been
Yeah.
discussion about the range and with the chief as well for the hall.
Okay,
Okay.
and it is budget time, so we'll certainly take that into account.
Okay. I appreciate everyone's time this evening. Thanks so much for
Excellent.
receiving my presentation.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we have a motion moved by Dan Meeks and seconded by Duncan McGregor that council receive the presentation from Steve Newstead from the Charlotte Lake Lions regarding Oso Hall for information. All those in favor? Carried. All right, we now have a public meeting. We will now enter into a public meeting to discuss a request for the closure of a road allowance held under the authority of Section 34(1.1) Municipal Act 2001. Notice of this hearing was provided in accordance with the requirements of the Act. The meeting will proceed as follows. Abigail McKinnon, Planning Service Assistant, will begin by presenting an overview of the proposed closure. Following the presentation, members of the public will have an opportunity to speak either in support of or in opposition to the proposed road allowance closure. Before asking a question or making a statement, please be sure to clearly state your name and address for the record so it may be noted by the clerk. I will turn it over to Abigail McKinnon, Planning Service Assistant, who will provide an overview of the proposed road allowance closure. And Chris, do we have anyone online? I heard some. Okay. They may be here for this part of the closure. We'll ask them when we get to the question point. Okay. So if the person on the phone wants to discuss the road closure, *9 will show us that you want to speak, and then we can let you in. Okay, so Abigail, you go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have a formal presentation prepared this evening, but I would like to provide a brief overview of the proposal. So application number APPN 2025-0043 is requesting the closure of a section of a road allowance between concessions 1 and 2 in lot 25 in the geographic township of Hinchinbrook. This portion of road allowance primarily consists of wetlands, and staff do not see any practical reason to retain it for future municipal use. All relevant departments were circulated to for comments and no major concerns were identified. I'm happy to answer any questions regarding my report or any that may arise during the public meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone have any question around the council table? Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak to this road closure? Is there anyone on the Zoom call or the phone that would like to speak? *9 to raise your hand.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, you need to unmute and then we can hear you.
Hello, Roland Goodfellow. I have no questions. I want to be involved in the process. Thank you for your consideration. That's all I have to say.
Okay, and your name again?
Roland Goodfellow.
Roland
63
Goodfellow.
Colonial Crescent. Yeah, 63 Colonial Crescent, Grimsby.
Okay, and are you opposing
I'm in
this?
favor.
or
I'm the problem.
You're in favor?
No, I'm in
Okay.
favor of.
Oh, you're the applicant. All right. So certainly
am.
you're in favor. Okay,
Absolutely.
so excellent. All right. All right. So if there's no one else to speak to this, I have a motion. And the motion is by,
Duncan and
oh, there we go, by Duncan and Susan. That council receive input from the public meeting and the accompanying report prepared by the planning service assistant. And further, that subject to the comments received at today's public meeting, that council approve the recommendation to stop up and close the unopened road allowance between concessions 1 and 2, lot 25, geographic township of Hinchinbrook, being part of PIN 36158-0482. And further, that council authorize staff to proceed with the next steps of arranging a survey and an appraisal of the land and bringing forward a bylaw to council to stop up, close, and convey this subject road allowance to the applicant as a lot addition, subject to any easements as may be required for Hydro One Networks, Inc. Said bylaw to indicate that all costs relating to the registration of the bylaw and transfer documents on title be at the property owner's expense. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. So
Thank you.
that concludes the public meeting. We are back to our consent agenda. Motion moved by Dan Meek, seconded by Bill Everett, that council receive items A to G for information as they're considered routine items. All those in favor? Carried. And now we are going to have Steve come and talk to us about winter sand. That was sent out to everyone earlier today. Did everybody get a chance to look at it? Okay.
It's resolution page 11. Yeah, you got it.
All right. I'll read the motion and then we can discuss it. Moved by Bill Everett, second by Cindy Kelsey. Whereas Gemmell Sand and Gravel were awarded the winter sand tender for both Olden and Hinchinbrook garages in May 2024, and whereas the contract authorizes the municipality to enter negotiations to extend the contract for up to 1 year if the Public Works Manager sees fit. And whereas the Public Works Manager and Supervisor have met with the owner of Gemmell's Sand and Gravel to discuss extending the contract for this upcoming season, 2025-2026. And whereas both parties have agreed to a 1-year extension at the same pricing as 2024, which was $84,900 for Hinchinbrook and $97,200 for Olden, excluding HST. Now therefore be it resolved that council approve the recommendation of the Public Works Manager and extend the winter sand contract with Gemmell Sand and Gravel for the 2025-2026 winter season, which including mid-winter top-ups. And further that the mayor and CAO clerk be authorized to sign the extension contract agreements. Discussion. Nikki.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Steve, I have 3 kind of questions. You said in your report that we did an RFP and did a contract in 2024 of May. To them, I couldn't find that. I found an extension. We gave them another contract extension. The RFP I found was from 2023. So I just wanted clarity on that. When you came to us about the problem with the Hinchinbrook Sand Dome, you said that the Olden Dome was already full of sand. I had asked about if we'd looked at that dome, so we were being preventative to it. And your reply was, well, it's full of sand. I can't look at it. So we're going to stockpile sand then, or have it on backup for Olden if it's full. Then my questions are about using the salt dome in South Frontenac and the building of the new dome. So if we have the opportunity to use a dome in South Frontenac, which is great, and it's great partnership, do we need to rush and put in a temporary dome for this winter when we have that opportunity? Or could we not do that and just save that money and put it towards the new dome next year, the full complete replacement of that dome? My other question is, are we putting out an RFP for that dome, or are you sole sourcing that dome?
First of all, Kathy's got the answer to the tender.
Yes, it was issued on May the 6th of 2024, and it was Public Works 2024-10 and for Hinchinbrook and 11 for Olden, and they were 2024s. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. What was the other question?
The Olden Sand Dome.
The Olden Sand Dome, you
Sand
said it was
okay.
full of sand when I asked about preventative, so.
Yeah, it's full, but I think we're gonna try to stuff a little bit more in it, but we took everything out of Hinchinbrook and put in it. So like that price there that was for Olden, we really don't need all that money for Olden right now until we need the top up, which will probably be a larger top up this time because we're gonna try to juggle some stuff around and make it work. The sand dome is a small sand dome that they have. It that's going to need topped up too. And it's 8 kilometers from our shop. It's not ideal, but it's something we can use. And I think we should still go ahead with the small dome. We're saying this, they're selling us the second week of November now. They're going to start putting it up. So, what's there another question?
Can I rebuttal that first question? And then I'll tell you my second question. So, but I realize it's 8 kilometers away, but it's $250,000. So which is a heavy chunk for taxpayers. So that's where my angle is coming about. Can we get away with not building a temporary one, using that money to go, as we've said numerous times, this budget year is going to be very hard. And $250,000 is a hit, quite a hit that we could save towards the replacement of the larger dome that we require.
To you, Madam Mayor. The only thing I'm worried about is keeping up with the minimum maintenance, and it is a little bit to go, but it'd be a lot handier if it's at our dome. I think we still should go with it, but I mean, whatever council wants to do, but I think we should still go ahead with it.
Maintenance tender.
You have plans for that after?
To you, Madam Mayor, we plan on using it to store like our big water tanks and our $50,000 mowers that sit out in the snowbanks and stuff like that after. It's not going to be just not used anymore. It'll still be used after, but.
My last question was, are we going to put out an RFP for the new replacement dome? Not the temporary one, the big one.
Through you, Madam Mayor, yeah, we will be putting out an RFP, and Arden, actually I was up at Arden and looked at the one they did up there, and it's cement, and it's actually wood framed with steel on the outside and steel on the roof, so there is no tarp to change after, so I'm going to look into that too. So yeah.
Through Madam Mayor, 2 questions. So the amount we're spending on sand, is that within the budgeted amount? I don't expect you to know exactly what the budget was, but perfect.
From the capital projects report, you had budgeted 208,000, and the total cost for Olden and Hinchinbrook is 182,000. So good job for keeping it within budget, and good job for your collaboration with South Frontenac.
So it is within budget. I kind of assumed that, but
Yeah. Sorry, through you, Madam Mayor, because Olden is full right now, so we're only going to need a top up there, and we'll need small top ups at the other spots, so it'll be under. I'm sure of it. I'm not going to say for sure, but I'm sure.
perfect. So the second question is, I understand we're almost November 1st. We need sand in the dome. So I understand we can't start a full RFP process right now. I'm not a fan of sole sourcing. Is it possible that in a short period of time, you could get 3 quotes and make this like an informal tendering process because of the amount we're going to be spending?
To you, Madam Mayor, I can look into it. Yes.
I think if you're dealing with a contractor to extend a contract, I don't think it's reasonable to then do an RFP for that same project. I think it's not fair to the people who are going to put in quotes, because you're not going to be accepting them if you're doing an extension. So I think we have to do one or the other.
We have in our procurement policy, we have procedures for this kind of thing, and you can do it we're already kind of throwing the procurement policy out the window. If we're not doing it as a contract extension, if we're doing an RFP, but this is literally just calling around for 3 prices. I'm not asking for a full tendering process. If we call around and a load of sand from Gemmels is $250, and these are made up numbers, and you call ABC Contracting and they say they're $200, that only took 5 or 6 seconds, and we may save 25 or 30%. So I'm just saying, can we get 3 prices to ensure that we're in line with 2025 current pricing for this kind of material?
Well, now that I know what the price is, I would certainly try and give you one that's a little cheaper than this if I wanted the work. This is public now,
It's public.
so I don't know. Philip.
I don't know if you want to answer this or not, but the question is going to be, winter comes every year. We would have known at the beginning of the year that we would need sand. Why are we coming now at the end of October saying it's too late to tender and now we need to extend the contract?
To you, Madam Mayor, a lot of it's the sand dome. It's out of my control. Sand dome is out of my control. I would have had it filled a long time ago when we found out it was not able to be filled. And we were told this new sand dome was going to be built by now, but we put off another couple of weeks. So,
So that's the
it's hard to
reason.
tender when I don't know what we're going to, we have to give them an amount.
See, we got it last minute too, that it's a crisis. Oh my God, we have to deal with that now. When we had all year to deal with the fact we knew we budgeted to replace the tarp and
Anyhow, Susan.
So I think we've learned from what happened with things cropping up. But I believe that Mr. Gould has done the best that he can in the emergency situation. And we did approve the expenditure for the small dome. There is a plan for its future use. Gemmels has been very cooperative, I understand. And while I recognize the values of doing an up. So I appreciate the value of RFPs, but in this case, I think given that the contract provided for a 1-year extension, we're exercising the option that we agreed to. So I will vote in favor.
Okay, Nikki.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate what you've said, Councillor Irwin. And I agree with the sand that where our hands are tied and we have to go ahead with the sand the way it is. I have no problem with that. I just don't think we had the full picture. I don't know if Mr. Gould didn't know that the option was there for South Frontenac in regards to the dome, and it's new information. But I think that if we had that information at the time we approved the expenditure, it might have been a different story. And that's all I'm saying is $250,000 is a lot of money in a tough year. But thank you. Yes, thank you.
All right, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Okay, that's carried. Get us some sand. The winter is going to come.
In November.
Yes. All right.
Go back to number 12.
Now we're back to, all right. Activity report. Moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Lynn Clegus, that council received the Central Frontenac Fire Rescue Activity Report prepared by the Manager of Emergency Services, Fire Chief, dated October 28th, 2025. Any questions or comments on that? All those in favor? Carried. Accounts payable. There's Michael. Moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Cindy Kelsey. I always want to call you council. That council received the accounts payable report check distribution in the amount of $2,214,520.35 as reported by the treasurer for information. Any discussion on any of those? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Susan Irwin, that council approve the following apportionments of assessments as recommended by impact for 2025 as applicable for the following numbers. And there's a lot of them there. Just catching up before year end.
MPAC has given us all the new information, Madam Mayor, and it's called Progress, and it's awesome.
Good. This adds to the tax roll. All those in favor? Carried. When the treasurer says it's awesome, you see dollars, right? All right. Moved by Dan Meek, seconded by Philip Smith, that council accept the revenue and expenditure budget to actual variance report for the period ending September 30th, 2025 for information. Michael, anything you want to point out there that's out of the way, or?
Just a couple things, Madam Mayor. Obviously, there's timing because of the reserve entries, and there's a note in there normally. Gravel came earlier in 2025. Department heads have been more on top of the capital projects this year, so I want to say a great job to them. And also the miscellaneous revenue, obviously we're selling some different land, but more interesting was $43,000 in tax sale expense recovery that are from before the rules changed in relation to tax sales. So
Really?
maybe in somebody's lifetime, those rules will change.
Yes. Okay. Does anyone have any question or comment? Duncan?
Through Madam Mayor, so we're doing pretty good for this year. We don't expect any major deficits or
Through Madam Mayor, Councillor McGregor, I was half expecting, there was like a 30-second thought that you were going to ask that question. I didn't do a projection to where we're at. There was no major concerns when I looked through it. Every time I look through it, there's always different things that got coded wrong or entered wrong that you have to do some adjustments, but there wasn't anything that said, oh, crud, we're in trouble or anything like that. So no, but the caveat, like a lawyer, is winter's coming. Who knows what's going to happen with that? It's always a whirlwind.
Winters and bridges.
Yeah.
Big culverts. Yeah. Nikki?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just two things, Michael. I noticed on here you had put down under revenue that the building revenue and the Part 8 revenue were lower. Is that a concern to you that maybe we were a little bit generous in what we thought we would get? Or is it a sign that we might see a downfall?
Through Madam Mayor to Councillor Gowdy, I was actually surprised by that. Thank you for asking the question as well, because I did forget to make that note there. I did talk to Andy and it is lower than he was expecting as well. I wouldn't have expected the building to go down. It just seemed like people are building, and maybe at some point that has to go. It's not a major concern in that we are budgeting for this, and some days it's going to go under, some days it's going to go over. It will be closer to what we actually budgeted, so maybe we won't have as much of a surplus as we have in the past. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. All those in favor? Carried. And the capital policy, moved by Cindy Kelsey, seconded by Duncan McGregor, that council approve the final tangible capital assets policy, TCA. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Making it easy for you, Michael. Moved by Lynn Clagus, seconded by Bill Everett. Whereas the prudent investment standard requires the treasurer to review the policy annually with council. Now therefore be it resolved that council has received and reviewed the current investment policy statement as part of the 1 JIB update process and confirm reapproval without revision of continuing the moderate risk profile under the prudent investor path that is geared towards a long-term investment capital return to fund Road 38 reconstruction. Any discussion? Let's hope that's a few years down the road. Duncan?
Michael, I read through this. It makes good sense to me. I'm not a treasurer. Reading overall how our investments are doing, is this kind of normal what you've seen? Like I see we got 11% return in 2025. Is this kind of normal? Is we on the right track?
So through Madam Mayor, Councillor McGregor, we have two wonderful people online as well that maybe answer that with a little bit more detail than myself, but I believe that the 11% is higher than, I think it's good for the market. Keith's nodding. So yeah, I think we're doing good. PH&N is a company that manages all of it for us, and I could not do this honestly without them. So I'm very thankful to Jen and Keith and Jason and PH&N for doing everything that they have in this regard, because I think it will not completely. I did chat with the public works manager the other day, and yeah, if he had to replace all of 38, it'd be $38 million. If we have $5 million at that time, we're still looking for grants. We're still looking at a loan, but I'm hopeful that with the pavement preservation that council's been so good in investing in the last number of years will help push our detail back. So this is new information for Jen and Keith. But in the investment plan, we're always looking at when we're pulling that money out. I'm hoping that it will be, in fact, a lot later than what we were anticipating, enabling us to get more money and save having to bill the taxpayers for more.
Also, I think we need to speak to South Frontenac because it seems to me they got a bit of a grant for theirs.
Yeah.
So we need to get the information about what that was. But maybe by the time we have to do it, it'll be a bigger grant. Let's hope. Okay, all those in favor? Carried.
Thank you, Keith and Jen, for joining.
Yes, thank you.
And or Madam Mayor, I'll just lightly suggest maybe we'll have an HST increase to share amongst municipalities. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. This mover and seconders back here. No. Oh, here we go. Okay. Sorry. Moved by Duncan McGregor and Lynn Clagus that council receive the Municipal Finance Officers Association conference report for information. Good conference.
It always is, Madam Mayor. MFOA, or acronyms, Municipal Finance Officers Association, is at the bleeding edge. They've always got the best material. It's just a matter of coming back and trying to find the time to devote to the long-term financial plan or asset management plan 2025 and beyond. So it'll be a team effort, and we'll get there an inch at a time, hopefully.
We just need to clone you.
Nobody
Susan.
wants to of me.
Through Madam Mayor. Michael, I'd like to thank you for your conference notes. They're very informative, and they provided me with food for thought as we approach this difficult budget planning session. But particularly, I noted the benefit of long-term financial planning to ensure the future health of the community. So thank you for that. And also, congratulations for your receiving the, I may not pronounce the name correctly, Suzanne Dielman Award, honoring your dedication, positive attitude, and commitment to municipal finance, which I have to say, in my opinion, is exemplified by your competent management of township finances and your positive working relationship with staff and council. So thank you.
Yes.
Well, through Madam Mayor to Councillor Irwin, if I may, thank you very much for the compliments. It is a lot of information, and that's not even, doesn't feel like 30% of what they give at the conference and what you get. And that networking is huge, right? And relying on each other because you're all dealing with the same issues and can hopefully come up with better solutions by putting your heads together. So
Well,
thank you.
plus the work that you do on the board
Yes.
actually makes us money
Yes, and it
because
saves,
you learn things.
saves money as well.
That's right. That's right. Okay. All right. All those in favor of the motion? Carried. All right. Now we have a motion, planning activity. Move.
The budget process dates.
Oh, sorry. Here we go. Moved by Dan Meek, seconded by Cindy Kelsey. The council receives for information the report prepared by the treasurer entitled Budget Policy with 2026 Budget Process and Dates. And that council reduced the time as set out in subsection 7.3 of the Ontario Regulation 530-22 to pass a resolution making an amendment to the proposed budget from 30 days to 15 days, November 20th, 2025 to December 4th, 2025. And further, that council reduced the time as set out in subsection 7.3 of the Ontario Regulation 530-22 to override the head of council's veto of an amendment to the proposed budgets from 15 days to 7 days, December 10, 25 to December 16, 2025. And the council approves the 2026 budget schedule as presented. And Michael has handed out that paper that has the schedule. Michael, do you want to explain what's happening so much different this time?
Yes, it's a strong mayor's budget versus
Yes.
council going together, but I fully expect us all to still work together to get the budget passed, honestly. In order to get the budget done, council has expressed getting that done earlier in the year so we can put out tenders and whatnot. This will get it done before Christmas, and then the tenders can go out and hopefully get better pricing and whatnot. And to sort of make a side note, MFOA had a meeting yesterday and I learned a new piece of information where when we're releasing the budget, initially in the timelines, it says it's going to council and the public. If I'd known this piece of information, I would have made a different recommendation, which would be to give the council the budget, have it from November 20th to when the agenda is released for the December 4th meeting, and then it would be open to the public at that point. So council's educated on going through the budget to answer any questions that may come from the public. So that would be maybe a suggested amendment, and I don't know how we do that in the resolution or whatever. But that would be something that I would recommend changing. But to go back over, obviously, staff is going to go over the budget. We will go through it with the mayor, and then we will release that budget to council. Council can then, if they have suggestions, give amendments, ideally in writing, just so that we can get the agenda planned. And then, but it can be also be brought at that meeting. It can be discussed at that meeting, but writing just gives more time for it to be laid out. And then the mayor is able to veto any one of those council amendments. And then obviously with 2/3 of council vote can overturn the mayor's veto on any amendments.
It's like a chess game. I don't play chess well. So what Michael has handed out is the steps that are going to happen. So on November 3rd, 4th, and 5th, I'm coming in to sit down with the heads of the departments, and we're going to work on the budgets. What I've asked them to do is to look at 5% overall operations and capital. And in operations, what they can cut back on would be money they could spend in capital. So I will sit down with each of them with the departments and see what we can cut before we get it to council.
Right.
And see what we can bring in. So it's going to be a lot of one-to-one sitting. They pay me the big bucks for that. Anyway, it's something that may make our whole discussion on the budget easier because we will have gone through it a couple of times by the time it gets out to you. But it's going to be a busy November. No deer hunting for me.
So
Okay.
I have to ask my mayor if I can, to have a decision from council before whether we release it to the public at the same time or we give it to council on November 20th and the public when the agenda.
Would you rather have it a little bit ahead of time? Like 10 days ahead? I think that would be
Okay.
good. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Duncan?
Thank you.
So my concerns with the process, just to be very clear, have nothing to do with you as mayor. It's just
Yeah.
process as general. My only question I have is when staff prepare the budget, that becomes a public document. And then if the mayor chooses to make edits to that document, the public can see that. Am I correct? Yeah.
After we get ready,
And then we.
well, our budget meetings won't be public.
The budget meetings themselves won't be public, but so
The
again,
outcome.
as Councilor McGregor said, that staff are going to prepare the budget. We will go through with mayor. So what we're doing is we're putting it in department submission version like we've always done. There's a mayor version as well, so I can print that report where I've done before. So initially or previous years, we've brought the report and we've said from this to council reviewed, I think is what it is. You can see the different adjustments that have been made. So yes, we will be able to see from department submission to the mayor's adjustments.
So just so I'm 100% clear, as you explained it, with the previous budgets we've got in several columns. The first column is prepared by the managers, right? The second column is approved by council or whatever council adjustments are. There'll be a column in the middle now that says, so we got managers, then we have the mayor, and then we have council amendments. Is that what
On a high level summary through Madam Mayor, Councilor McGregor, yes. But before it would have been department submission, department head team review, council, I'm missing one in there.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
it's just
Yep.
a different name is all it really is, but you'll be able to see the differences on a high level and the different reports are still going to look the same. I've not changed any of the reports, just the heading names to say council adopted
Yep.
versus approved.
But I think Duncan's question is when does the public see the first draft?
Or at some point, so if we added a new plow truck and the mayor cut the new plow truck, could the public understand how that process happened? So it wasn't council that did it in that case, it was the mayor, or it wasn't department heads.
That
And-
happens at a public meeting.
Yeah, that would all be at the December 4th public meeting. So
Yes.
on the agenda, it would show maybe you issued a dump truck and then the mayor vetoed it after. Yes, that's all out
Yeah,
there for
that-
everybody to see.
That's all I was asking.
And,
Yeah,
and I mean, obviously, we've discussed before about, well, how did we get to this number, right? That's an open discussion.
exactly.
This is all new. Okay, so, go ahead, Nikki.
Thank you. Last year we did a public budget survey before we started budget. Are we going to, I know it's kind of late because you're doing submission and Madam Mayor's going to look at it next week.
Yeah,
But in the future, can we look at a submission? I know it's new this year, but it kind of was, the public appreciated having an opportunity to have a say in anything.
Through Madam Mayor, Councilor Gowdy, as they should, there is a survey that Chris, sorry, saying names, but was releasing and should be out for 3 weeks. I'm expecting to get results by November 20th when the budget is released. So it can still be taken into account. It wasn't up all year like I thought it was, and that's on bad on me. I should have followed up with them earlier and said, or changed the questions or something too, right? It comes down to time. But there is a survey that's going to sit out for at least 3 weeks. Public comment, we get more information. The more information we get, the better.
Now, this question is either to you or to Kathy, actually. Do we have to put anything in our budget, because Strong Mayors is new? Do we have to put anything in our budget that ties back to the provincial, their mandates or whatever,
Regulations.
recommendations? Do we have to do any of that, or is it kind of still status quo that way?
I would say status quo. I don't believe there's anything that we have to officially say this, like our strategic plan tying to the provincial priority, not to my understanding. But as I said on the MFOA call
as well.
yesterday, it's all new. We're all figuring it out, and
And this motion
Change.
quotes the different legislation sections. That's probably enough.
As you've said in the past, we don't have money for housing. We need them to give us money for
Yeah.
housing. So like one of their biggest priorities is housing and
Mhm.
urban, which we're not, transportation, different things like that. So I didn't want us, we don't have it to give,
No.
basically.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yes, Lynn.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'm just looking at the portion that came to us, and it says, I, Francis Smith, Mayor of the Township, direct the chief, the CAO, and the treasurer as follows. On the first step there, you state that there would not be an overall levy increase not exceeding 5%. Is that something that's coming from the province that
No.
you've put in there, or that's a number you've chosen?
Yeah.
And is that something that, what if they couldn't stick to that? Or, like, I just didn't know, where's that coming from? You've also stated that you want to establish the practices and processes from previous years, but you've added that section, that statement. So I just wondered if where'd that came from?
What did I do in that statement, Michael?
well, I asked Madam Mayor what direction we had, like as we've done to all of council before. But again, this being a Strong Mayor's budget, I asked the mayor, and the direction was to come in at 5%. And then
Or
the way I mean, if I would look at it, Councilman Clegg, sorry, like we've done other years. Council may, as a collective, ask us to commit at 8%, and we were like, no, we're at 10. That's the best we've done. Now we're going to have to discuss it. If we can't commit at 5, maybe the mayor uses her powers and says, Michael, you're not getting that citywide product this year. Like we will go through it with Madam Mayor, and we will either cut it down to 5%, or I believe she has the option to bring it to council at saying, well, I directed 5, but we're at 6.
Well, and I guess that's a question for council. Is 5 something you can live with? Would you like it to be 6, 7, or 3?
I mean, I think we all would say the lower the better, but it depends on the circumstances surrounding it is my answer. I don't know if that's going to be the answer we can come up with. If we can, it's a hopeful number.
For that, yeah.
We aim for that, but making the statement that it has to be that is my concern. I would say it's more my aim.
Yeah, I think we just wrote that up because it's part of what they say we need to have.
And I think, as I said earlier, sorry, Councillor Smith, collectively, we're going to figure this out.
Yes.
It may not be at 5%, it may be at 3%, maybe at 8%, but collectively we will figure it out.
And whatever it is, there will be recognition as to why it is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to argue that everything needs to be cut. Staff don't know that yet, but Bill.
Thank you, Magda. It sounds to me like this is just all to get around the Strong Mayor's house. Okay, I mean, it only mentions it here once, but in the report, it mentions veto twice. It sounds like you're doing what you have to do because you've been directed.
Yeah, that's true.
But we can still override you.
Yes.
And then you can override us, and then we can override you once again. It's just an end run.
You know what, though, we're going to be able to work it out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why it's all written like that, but, and again, I think as Nikki said, housing was the big thing that they wanted to see in budgets. And I think that's where they wanted the power for the mayor to say, we are building 16 units, da-da. Ours is basically our budget process. Maybe I can help cut it down from 6 meetings to 2. So, all right. All right. All those, sorry, Philip.
So my question is, we've elected to use the Strong Mayor's powers and the Strong Mayor's budget. We do not have to do that.
No, you do. This is not an election. This is legislated.
She
That's
doesn't
my
have, she doesn't have,
understanding.
yeah,
It's
no,
not an option
no.
for council to give or take those powers away. They belong to the mayor from the province and we have no say in it. That was my understanding of it. But my understanding is even if Madam Mayor didn't take the strong mayor powers, it's still the mayor.
She doesn't have a choice. She cannot give them up.
I'd like a recorded vote.
No?
No, just the mic. We just said.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So let me read part of the and this, and further that council reduced the time as set out. Okay, so this is basically working with the two different time periods and reducing them from 30 days to 15 days for making an amendment, and the veto of an amendment changed from 15 days to 7. So, and that council approves the 2026 budget schedule as presented. All those in favor. So I'm going to go Philip Smith.
No.
Okay, Dan.
We get to question and stuff
Sorry.
after that, right?
Oh, yeah. You mean, this is just the process part.
I don't think that makes any difference, so.
Okay,
Okay.
so you're yes?
Yeah.
Nikki,
No.
Duncan,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Cindy,
No.
Fran, yes. Yeses have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Carried. All right. So that's that one. So next is planning activity report. Moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Bill Everett, that council received the planning activity report dated October 28th, 2025, as prepared by the Planning Service Assistant for Information. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Carried. All right. We are road allowance closure for Hivok. Moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Duncan McGregor, that council received the road allowance closure request report as prepared by the Planning Service Assistant for Information, and that council approved the recommendation of the Planning Service Assistant to stop up, close, declare surplus, and sell part of a highway. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. All right. Moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Lynn Clagus, that council received the October 2025 bylaw enforcement and education activity report as prepared by the bylaw enforcement officer for information. Hello, Nicole.
Hello, Madam Mayor.
Any questions or comments for Nicole? Duncan.
Yes, through Madam Mayor, Nicole, I've asked this a couple of times, but we've issued $24,200 in fines this year. As a percentage, how much of that has been paid? As a guess, I'm not going to hold you to a number, just a rough guess.
I would say almost 75% has been paid.
Okay, so it's steady increase, because I think when I asked you in the summer, we were at like 20%, 75%. That's awesome.
Listen.
Through Madam Mayor, and you've obviously been very busy. So safe properties, we're still looking at no charge. Is there those just circumstances where you were providing education and so forth, or is the AMPS in place for safe properties yet?
Through you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, AMPs are in place right now for administrative or for the safe properties, but I am working on education and I am working with the residents because sometimes it's a big job. So I am working with them. I am giving them a little bit of an extension. If I can see that they're working with me, I don't issue fines. It's when they stop is when I'll issue you a fine, and we go from there.
That's great.
Anyone else? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you, Nikki. All right, moved by Dan Meeks, seconded by Bill Everett, that council received the October 2025 administration activity report as prepared by the deputy clerk for information. Any questions or comments?
On your, Stu,
Oh.
both of our.
Do you want me to do this again? Probably should. Moved by Dan Meeks, seconded by Bill Everett, that council received the October 2025 administrative activity report as prepared by the deputy clerk for information. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council receive for information the 2026 council calendar and for the council accept the proposed dates for the 2026 regular meetings of council. Discussion. Duncan.
I had a question the other day, and someone in the room might be able to answer. So, when I was younger, council meetings used to happen once a year in other districts other than OSO. I just wondered why that practice was ever given up.
Council meetings once a year?
Council meetings once a year were held in other districts.
Oh, moved around.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I just wondered why that
Stop.
practice stopped, and
Because of this technology. Because we have to have the YouTube
all the time.
all the time, and the other halls, well, one,
Piccadilly doesn't have
Kennebec
that.
now has internet, which would help with the computers, but I don't know about the setup.
Mountain Grove wouldn't be able to, or I think Piccadilly.
Piccadilly wasn't able.
yeah, understandable.
That's why.
As something to look at, maybe for future council years, there's other spots that could be held at either one of the fire halls or other buildings. I think it was a good show of faith to some of the other districts by having at least one council meeting
We
a
used to
year.
get a great meal at Arden too.
Anyway, that's my only point.
The one thing I want us to think about for the next term, and one of the things I read in there was if we wanted to look at changing times or any of that.
Yeah.
Tonight, we have Abby and we have Nicole sitting here for their reports, 7:15, so they've been here since this morning. I think unless there's something on their report, it seems like a waste of time for folks to be sitting, waiting to have their report basically go through. I don't know if we could do something, if there were questions ahead of time to get it to them, or what we could do about that. Nikki?
I was just gonna say, maybe that's a question for the next council to take on, that we as this council agreed to the 6 o'clock meetings. I respect what you're saying, and I do feel for the staff that have to wait around. I don't disagree with you on that, but I think that maybe that's a question that the next council should decide on.
Well, I was thinking even if the time didn't change, it might be something that we'd want to look at, maybe having them come to every second meeting for questions. I don't know. Or if there's something contentious in a report.
That's the way it is report. You see so many districts do, like we do different departments at 2 different meetings.
Yeah, but it seems like they're here all the time.
No, it's only because, and that only,
Probably see me all the time because it's committee, the first meeting of the month.
Month.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I'm always here.
that's right. So.
Yes.
Then, great point now. Could we not change that Abby, we switch planning to the first meeting? If she has to, can we have committee of adjustment at the first meeting of the month? Is there any way we can move the planning report to that first meeting rather than the second meeting, which would maybe help out?
I'm in the administration category, so that could, I mean, we could move planning out of that category.
We'd
for
have to
councils.
change,
That's
we'd have to
up you
change the
guys.
procedural bylaw to do that. Because the procedural bylaw is very set as to which departments admin and all that stuff.
It's not even her that I'm thinking about. It's Nicole that I'm thinking about, who now drives to Kingston for an hour. And comes to answer, oh, yes, it's not Abigail that I'm thinking about. She lives close, but Nicole sits here and waits and has one question and she has an hour's drive after. I don't know. It's just something we need to think about. Susan?
So through Madam Mayor, and to respond to your suggestion, our fire chief has not been able to be here on a number of occasions for health reasons. And Councillor Gowdy has had questions, and those have been forwarded to him, and it's been dealt with after. So I would think that if we had questions about for the bylaw officer, that we could have them conveyed to her so that she doesn't have to be here. We could either do that in advance of the meeting because we get the package in advance, so we could prepare our questions and send them off. So it does, I suppose, interfere with discussion somewhat, but if it's a really contentious issue, we could table it for the next meeting and have
Yeah.
her present. So just a thought.
Anyway, food for thought. All right, all those in favor of the motion? Carried. It's 25 after 7 and Blue Jays are just getting warmed up right now, so we're almost at the end of our agenda, I believe. All right, moved by Lynn Clegg, seconded by Bill Everett. Whereas the Charlotte Lake Village Historical Group has undertaken an extensive archival project focusing on the village's origins and historic development, and whereas 2025 marks the village's 150th anniversary. And whereas the historical group is requesting council to waive the rental fees for Oso Hall on the following dates, May 7 to 10, 2026, and August 6 to 9, 2026, to host the public historical display. Now therefore be it resolved that council recognize the significance of Charlotte Lake Village 150th anniversary and approve the request to waive the rental fee for Oso Hall for May 7 to 10 and August 6 to 9, 2026. Discussion. And they need it those days for setting up all of the pictures and information that they've got. All right, all those in favor? Carried. All right, moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Duncan McGregor, that council approve the terms of reference as submitted by the Central Frontenac Recreation Advisory Committee. And B, creation of subcommittee, Canada Day Committee. Motion from, is that another motion? No.
They're two separate motions, ma'am.
Okay.
So you
But
just do the first
there's-
one.
No, wait a minute here. There's A and B. There's no mover and seconder for this.
There
Who
is for
that?
the A, it's Susan and Duncan.
Oh, good.
It's right here. So it's not part of this motion.
No,
It's where the motion came from. So this is the first motion,
and that's the
and this
second
is the reason the second motion was made. I'm sorry for the.
So this doesn't need to be read.
That's the only data that I had to put into that so that the public could know why that motion was
Okay,
made.
but that's not going to be voted on. That's a done motion. That's for information. All right, so the council
No.
approved the terms of references submitted by the Central Frontenac Recreation Advisory Committee. All those in favor?
Mhm.
Carried. So the other motion is moved by Nikki Gowdy and seconded by Lynn Clegg, that council approve the recommendation of the Central Frontenac Recreation Advisory Committee to establish the Canada Day Committee as a subcommittee of the Central Frontenac Recreation Committee. All right. We got it.
Confusing.
All those in favor? Carried.
Oh,
Sorry.
The vote.
Go ahead, Duncan.
Kathy, at our meeting a month ago, we had talked about a policy or procedure for committees.
mhm.
Just wondered when we would expect that to come back to council.
We're going to, I think Sarah was helping looking at that too with us, isn't she? She was. Unfortunately, I might as well tell you right now, Sarah will be leaving us as of November the 7th is her last day. She has a full-time job in Kingston with the new company that purchased, I think it was Macintosh Perry. It's Aegis or something, or Aegis company. So she will be with programming and also admin. So we're going to have to make other decisions as to, and we'll come back with council on that, what we're going to do from here. Okay?
Yep.
Okay, communications for action. Moved by Bill Everett, seconded by Dan Meeks. Whereas the Friends of the Residents of the Charlotte Lake Retirement Residence are fundraising to purchase a wheelchair accessible vehicle to help residents travel to medical and other appointments. And whereas their goal is to raise $60,000 through community donations and events such as the upcoming Jingle Bell Bash on November the 8th at the Oso Hall. Now therefore be it resolved that council support this initiative and approve a donation in the amount of blank. And further, that this initiative aligns with the township's strategic priority, healthy community development by supporting medical services. Does anyone want to put in an amount? Susan?
Through Madam Mayor, and no, I don't want to put in an amount.
Okay.
And I have to say that the letter causes me some conflict, some hardship, because my career has been spent advocating for people in need. And I recognize that medical transportation or needing transportation when you're in a wheelchair is expensive. If you're at Lanark Lodge and you're in a wheelchair, you have to pay. And it's several $100s or more. I have a family member, so I'm aware. If you're in a retirement home and you're taken by ambulance and it proves to be a non-emergency, you have to pay. It appears, and I'm not saying it's right, but public policy is that transportation is a personal responsibility. As a person who likes to support, I'd be more than willing to make a personal donation. But that's not my role as a counselor. My role as a counselor is to consider what is in the best interests of the township as a whole. My understanding is that the vehicle will be owned by the Sharbot Lake Retirement Residence, which is a private company, that it will only be available to the Sharbot Lake Retirement Residence. And while I have the utmost empathy for their situation, I can't support making a donation. If we were to do that, it's not the only retirement home in the community. And if we're talking about direct supporting medical services directly, we have another item on the agenda where it is open access to members of this community. And we haven't supported medical services in the past, but I'm just pointing that out. So.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
I agree with Susan.
So, Philip?
They've mentioned using the hall on November 8th. I don't know if we were already charging them. I'd be willing to say you can have the hall rental. But as Susan said, yeah, making donations, the one she talked about in the future, I've opposed it on a number of occasions as well. So not that I'm opposed, we did set a priority of healthy community development. I think this helps. If we can help them raise money on their own, that's up to them. But we can't be helping by donating funds, taxpayer funds.
Okay. Anyone else? Nikki?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you both to Councillor Irvin Smith. They couldn't have said it better myself, and I feel the exact same way. We did at a previous meeting make a donation of swag to the Arden Legion, so maybe it was, I'm sure it was to the Legion for their quarter auction. Maybe that's the way we go as well. They're having an auction, silent auction according to their ad for at their Jingle Bell Bash dance, and maybe a basket of swag, and that would be more suitable.
And you're in agreement with the hall rental being free?
I have no problem with the hall
Okay.
rental.
Okay.
And again, if it was a community vehicle that the whole community could have access to, it would align with the healthy communities. It's not, it's only going to be for a business to transport their clients. So again, we are responsible for the tax dollars. And I think that there could be a problem that we're not representing it the right way.
Right. Okay. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Defeated. All right. Moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Bill Everett, that council receive the 2025 annual report from the Perth and Smith Falls District Hospital Foundation for information. Now therefore be it resolved that council consider a 2026 budget donation to the Perth and Smith Falls District Hospital Foundation as an investment in accessible local care, innovation, and the overall health of our community. And further, this initiative aligns with the township's strategic priority, healthy community development by supporting medical services. Philip?
So I think you said I was the mover. So I'm okay for receiving it for information, but it doesn't need to go to budget, in my opinion.
So receive receive it for information. It can still be considered by budget, but not approved in the budget, right?
There's no harm.
No.
Oh,
If
Then ask someone
if
else
the
to-
strong mayor puts it in, you can take it out.
You can ask someone else to move it then.
You want to change, you don't want to move it? Who wants to move it then? Susan? Okay. So all those in favor of the motion? Opposed? 2, 3. It's carried. I voted yes. All right, so it carried. Where are we? These are on opposite sheets. All right, bylaws. First one is moved by Susan and seconded by Cindy, that bylaw 2025-46, being a bylaw to permanently close, declare surplus, and sell a part of a highway, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 28th day of October 2025. All in favor? Carried. Notice of motion. This is notice of motion from Nikki Gowdy. And do we need a seconder?
Yes.
I'll second the motion.
Duncan? And the motion is, whereas
Move forward.
Whereas during the municipal election campaign in the fall of 2022, many residents inquired about the possibility of curbside waste pickup. And whereas we are soon going to be entering into budget deliberations, it would be a relevant time to investigate the cost of township curbside waste pickup. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council directs staff to investigate the cost of curbside waste collection and bring a report back to council at the November 11th 2025 regular meeting of council. Discussion? No discussion. All those in favor, right? Notice of motion.
No, it is. Mhm.
Can you
can just
discuss
give-
it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I thought it had
She,
to.
she did it before she.
Oh, I missed. I
Yeah,
wasn't
she
at
did
that
it.
meeting.
She
that
did
time.
it the last meeting and now it's the
Okay.
actual
All right.
discussion.
So discussion. Yeah. Susan, then Duncan.
So through Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Gowdy, for bringing that notice of motion forward. Certainly, I can recall, it's only, what, 3 years ago now, that there certainly was interest. It may be that we can't afford it, but we need to find out if we can afford it or not, because certainly our community is changing, and I can appreciate that many would like that service. So let's find out if we can do it or not. So thank you, Councillor Gowdy.
Duncan.
So I share Susan's thoughts on this. I'm not 100% sure we're going to be able to afford it this year, but I think looking forward, one thing that may be interesting or maybe appealing to council is because this has been such a topic for Central Frontenac over the past lifetime, 25 years, 30 years. Maybe this is something we'll look at as putting as part of a referendum question for the 2026 election to let taxpayers finally decide, is this something we're willing to pay for or not?
Well, and with
We have to be very careful because I have to look at the timing. Because if we're going to do any questions on the ballot, they have to be done fairly quickly if you're going to want to do it then. And I can find out the timing on that.
So yeah, so that's why initially I thought the November 11th deadline was a little bit tight to get a report back to council,
Mhm.
understanding that I think we have to have those in by like January 1st or something. So
Yeah, I will double check the timing because I know there is certain timings for different things that you want to put on your ballot. And that's,
Nikki, you did some research and had some numbers, so you could hand that over to staff to.
Yeah, definitely. And Duncan and I also went out and met with Kyle Bolton at South Frontenac and the garbage guru lady. I can't remember her name. I can remember her face, and I know her name is the garbage guru. So yes, we have the talks, and we were at the time that we were doing the investigation, it was for recycling and garbage. Now our hands are tied on recycling pickup, but garbage pickup is totally within our means. So yes, I have no problem passing that along.
Plus, garbage pickup is changing in that it won't be from businesses, churches, and all those other places that commercial garbage won't be picked up. They have to figure out their own system. All right. Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Good. Okay. Any giving of notice of motion?
No, there is not.
Any new or other business?
No, Madam Mayor.
No closed session.
None.
Adjournment. Is there anything else we need to talk about? Duncan?
Sorry, I kind of stole Kathy's thunder by announcing Sarah's resignation from the municipality. So I
Yeah.
just had to say thank you to Sarah for her time. And if you would like to speak, Kathy, or
Sure. I will, I certainly will pass that along to her. I said we had so many plans for her, but I mean, she's young. She's, out there to try a different career. Maybe she'll realize when she's there that she really likes the municipal world. So, and you never know that she may come back at some point. But I wished her all well, and we're going to probably maybe just take her out for lunch or whatever for the staff. So,
That's nice.
okay.
She got a good base with us.
Yeah.
Okay, moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Cindy Kelsey, that bylaw 2025-47, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular council meeting held October the 28th, 2025, be read first, second, and third time and finally passed this 28th day of October, 2025. And further, that this meeting be adjourned until Tuesday, November the 11th, 2025 at 6 p.m. for the regular meeting of council, said meeting to be held at the council chambers, Road 38, Charlotte Lake. All those in favor? Carried.